Dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter primarily responsible for reward, motivation, and motor control. Often called the feel-good chemical, it doesn't actually produce pleasure itself, but rather the anticipation of it. When you eat your favorite food, accomplish a goal, or scroll through social media, dopamine spikes in your brain's reward pathway. The onset of a dopamine release brings a surge of focus and drive, sharpening your attention toward whatever triggered it. At its peak, you feel highly motivated, energized, and ready to take action. It reinforces behaviors by telling your brain that whatever you just did is worth repeating. However, when dopamine levels drop, you experience a loss of drive, difficulty concentrating, and a feeling of dissatisfaction that pushes you to seek out another reward. Chronically low dopamine can lead to symptoms like fatigue, lack of motivation, and even depression, while abnormally high levels are associated with addiction and psychotic conditions like schizophrenia. Serotonin. Serotonin is a key chemical messenger that regulates mood, sleep, appetite, and emotional stability. Unlike dopamine, which drives pursuit, serotonin is all about satisfaction and feeling grounded. Produced mostly in the gut and sent throughout the central nervous system, it acts as a natural mood stabilizer. When serotonin levels are optimal, you experience a calm, steady sense of well-being, emotional resilience, and healthy sleep patterns. The onset of balanced serotonin activity softens anxiety and helps quiet racing thoughts. At its peak, you feel content, secure, and socially comfortable, with a balanced appetite and steady circadian rhythms. When serotonin drops, the come-down is marked by mood swings, irritability, insomnia, and deep emotional vulnerability. Long-term serotonin deficits are heavily linked to clinical depression and severe anxiety disorders, which is why many psychiatric medications work specifically to keep more serotonin active in the brain. Endorphins. Endorphins are natural neuropeptides produced by the central nervous system and pituitary gland to mask physical pain and stress.
Acting as your body's built-in pain relievers, their structure is remarkably similar to opioid medications. They're released during intense physical exertion, laughter, excitement, or severe injury. The onset begins when your body hits a threshold of stress or physical discomfort, triggering an immediate blockade of pain signals across your spinal cord. At the peak of an endorphin release, often called a runner's high, pain fades away, replaced by a light euphoria, warm physical relaxation, and a sense of effortless endurance. As the surge subsides, your body gradually settles back into its natural state, leaving behind a lingering sensation of peaceful exhaustion. Without sufficient endorphins, physical discomfort feels far more intense, and your tolerance for both physical and emotional stress drops significantly. GABA. Gamma-aminobutyric acid, universally known as GABA, is the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter in the human brain. Its main job is to slow down brain activity and prevent your nervous system from becoming overwhelmed. Whenever stress or excitement spikes, GABA acts like a biological brake pedal. Upon activation, the onset of GABA signaling decreases electrical activity in your neurons, lowering your heart rate and easing muscle tension. At its peak, a strong GABA response creates profound relaxation, mental stillness, and drowsiness, making it essential for falling asleep and managing acute fear. When GABA activity wears off, neural firing speeds back up, returning your brain to a state of alertness. If your brain lacks adequate GABA, your neurons fire uncontrollably, leading to chronic anxiety, panic attacks, muscle spasms, and severe insomnia. Glutamate. Glutamate is the exact opposite of GABA, serving as the principal excitatory neurotransmitter in the brain. It acts as the primary power switch, driving cellular communication and playing a critical role in learning, memory formation, and brain plasticity. Whenever you learn a new skill or absorb information, glutamate is actively forging connections between your neurons. The onset of glutamate activity wakes up your brain, sharpening cognitive processing and enhancing mental speed. At its peak, your mind operates at maximum capacity, allowing for quick recall, sharp focus, and complex problem solving.
However, too much glutamate creates a dangerous situation known as excitotoxicity, where overstimulated brain cells become damaged or die off completely. A sudden drop or malfunction in glutamate signaling causes severe brain fog, memory loss, and difficulty processing basic information, making its balance vital for cognitive health. Oxytocin. Oxytocin, frequently dubbed the bonding hormone, is a neuropeptide produced in the hypothalamus that drives social connection, empathy, and physical touch. It plays an essential role in maternal bonding, romantic intimacy, and group trust. When you hug someone, hold hands, or engage in deep social interaction, oxytocin floods your system. The onset brings a gentle sense of comfort, lowering blood pressure and reducing stress signals in the amygdala. At its peak, oxytocin generates intense feelings of trust, emotional closeness, and security, effectively dissolving social barriers and fear of rejection. As the release fades, it leaves behind a foundation of emotional stability and attachment. Low levels of oxytocin are associated with social isolation, mistrust, difficulty forming deep relationships, and increased vulnerability to stress. Anandamide. Anandamide is an endocannabinoid, a naturally occurring compound in your body that derives its name from the Sanskrit word for bliss. It binds to the exact same brain receptors that interact with active compounds in cannabis. Anandamide plays a major role in regulating pain, mood, memory, and appetite. The onset of anandamide release brings a subtle distortion of stress, easing physical tension and lifting your overall mood. At its peak, it creates a gentle sense of peace, mild euphoria, and a quiet reduction in anxiety, while briefly softening bad memories to help your brain let go of trauma. As it breaks down rapidly in the body, the feeling gently dissolves, restoring baseline perception. A deficiency in natural anandamide can result in heightened stress sensitivity, chronic pain, and persistent anxiety. Acetylcholine. Acetylcholine was the very first neurotransmitter ever discovered, and it serves as the critical bridge between your brain and your muscular system. It is heavily involved in muscle contractions, attention, spatial memory, and neuroplasticity. Every single time you decide to move a muscle, acetylcholine is the chemical making it happen. The onset of acetylcholine activity triggers immediate signal transmission across neuromuscular junctions, allowing your body to react swiftly. At its peak, it sharpens selective attention, enhances logical processing, and allows you to form clear, lasting memories of new information. As acetylcholine breaks down, muscles relax and mental focus naturally broadens out. A drastic decline in acetylcholine is one of the primary hallmarks of neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's disease, leading to severe memory loss and cognitive decline. Norepinephrine. Norepinephrine functions as both a hormone and a neurotransmitter, acting as a core driver of your body's fight-or-flight response. It prepares your mind and body for immediate action during dangerous or high-stress situations. When a threat is perceived, the onset of norepinephrine release triggers a sudden spike in heart rate, constricts blood vessels, and redirects blood flow directly to your large muscles. At its peak, your pupils dilate, your breathing quickens, and your mind enters a state of extreme hypervigilance where distraction becomes impossible. You are wired entirely for survival. Once the perceived threat passes, the come-down can leave you feeling physically drained, shaky, and exhausted as your body recovers from the intense rush. Chronic overproduction of norepinephrine keeps you trapped in a perpetual state of stress and high blood pressure, while deficiency leads to severe lethargy and lack of focus. Cortisol. Cortisol is the primary stress hormone produced by your adrenal glands, designed to manage long-term physical and psychological pressure. Unlike quick burst chemicals, cortisol works over extended periods to regulate metabolism, control inflammation, and manage how your body uses carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. The onset of cortisol release occurs when you face sustained challenges, gradually increasing blood sugar levels to provide a steady supply of energy for your brain. At its peak, it suppresses non-essential functions like digestion, growth, and immune responses, so your body can focus all its energy on enduring the current stressor. As the stressor resolves, cortisol levels slowly decline, allowing normal bodily functions to resume. However, when chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated for weeks or months, it wreaks havoc on the body, leading to weight gain, immune suppression, muscle loss, and severe mental burnout. Melatonin. Melatonin is the primary hormone responsible for regulating your circadian rhythm and signaling to your body that it is time to sleep. Produced by the pineal gland in response to darkness, it acts as the internal clock for your entire biological system. As daylight fades, the onset of melatonin production begins, causing your body temperature to drop slightly and making you feel progressively drowsy. At its peak, typically in the middle of the night, melatonin promotes deep, restorative sleep cycles and supports cellular repair throughout your body. As morning light hits your eyes, melatonin production shuts down rapidly, clearing the way for daytime alertness chemicals to take over. Disruptions in melatonin production, often caused by nighttime light exposure, lead to insomnia, broken sleep patterns, and chronic daytime fatigue. Epinephrine. Epinephrine, commonly known as adrenaline, is the ultimate high-powered chemical released by the adrenal glands during acute emergencies. It is the ultimate survival tool designed to maximize physical capability in an instant. The onset of an adrenaline rush is nearly instantaneous, sending a powerful wave through your cardiovascular system. Within seconds, your airways expand to take in more oxygen, your heart pumps rapidly, and your tolerance for physical pain skyrockets. At its peak, you experience extraordinary bursts of speed and strength, with your brain processing incoming visual information at rapid speed to help you make split-second survival decisions. As the immediate danger subsides, the chemical breaks down, resulting in a dramatic crash characterized by trembling limbs, deep exhaustion, and heavy breathing as your body burns through its emergency fuel reserves.